What's up, everybody? I am that Oracle guy, aka Patrick. That's my dog, Rosie. I'm a professional tarot and oracle card reader, and this video, I was thinking today, we could talk about the Major Arcana. We could talk about the Fool, which is one of the most important cards within the Major Arcana for more than one reason. So, if you like content like this, please feel free to stick around to learn a little bit more about the Major Arcana and learn about the beautiful Fool's journey, which, if this is brand new information to you, is quite literally what you're embarking on right this very second. Okay? It is very important to emphasize that any journey that has ever truly begun has always started with the energy of the Fool, right? Because the Fool is about new beginnings, new opportunities, taking those risks and going out there to learn new lessons and have new opportunities towards our own internal advancement. And that can just mean like a multitude of things in your life. But the Fool is essentially the seeker of enlightenment within the Major Arcana. The Major Arcana is actually a story that starts with the Fool taking this leap of faith, and every card after that is someone that the Fool meets along the way of this journey. They have lessons to impart, they have wisdom to provide, and it is all essentially a self-reflective adventure that the Fool is embarking on. So major vibes with the Fool. Certain helpful keywords for you for the Fool are going to be new beginnings, taking leaps of faith, trusting in the process. This is a brand new opportunity. This is, of course, innocence and naivete. It's a brand new chapter in your life with new characters and new storylines. It's being completely and totally unself-conscious. It's taking risks, and it can also represent traveling, like going the distance. Without going too much into the history of the tarot, I will say that the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, which is what we're talking about today, was designed by an artist named Pamela Colman Smith. She is fantastic, and she is and was a psychic, absolutely. She had synesthesia, but she was also a costume designer and a set designer for theater. She had a background in theater. So when we're looking at symbolism within the cards, she was very intentional about her costuming and all of the elements that were in the cards. So we're gonna go down the list of some of the symbolism that is present in this card and tie it into the meanings. I'm gonna do this with every one of the cards. First and foremost, we have the Fool standing at the edge of a cliff, right? That cliff represents that leap of faith. It's all about having the courage and the faith to begin this brand new adventure, okay? Obviously, the Fool is kind of at a certain peak already, and that is when it is a perfect time to begin a new journey, to keep climbing forward, because the journey of the Major Arcana is all about, it's cyclical. It's all about learning what you needed to learn and then beginning a new journey with more clarity and more force and more personal empowerment. Okay. Another symbol that is important in the card is the white rose that the Fool is holding on to. This represents a degree of just purity, right? Purity and innocence and freedom. But the freedom is also of certain earthly desires, base desires, right? Like the white rose represents a soul that is no longer bound by or attached to certain material possessions. The dog is also showing up there, you know, man's best friend, and the dog represents certain loyalty, right? Loyalty and protection, because the dog is there to to be company, of course, for the Fool, but to also remind the Fool to take a little bit of caution and to be alert for certain dangers that are ahead, all right? This is the idea of it's like a sort of baser animal nature or instinct that says don't go there or be careful if you're going to be approaching that ledge. The red feather that is coming out of the Fool's hat represents courage and power and personal authority. Fire, very fire elemental, and this is about listening to your instincts, having the courage to move forward, but at the same time having the courage, since it's so close to his head, to just listen to your intuition at the same time. The knapsack that the Fool is carrying represents a few things, actually. Number one, the Fool is packed very, very light. The Fool does not need to have a lot of material possessions on this journey, on this adventure, because the Fool knows that the real things that he needs to bring with him are his experience, is his wisdom, is what he's already learned in his life. So there's no real need to carry everything with you, especially not material possessions. Packing very light is an element of the Fool, absolutely. But people also say, and I have heard, that the knapsack isn't the only thing. That large stick that he's carrying the knapsack with is actually seen as a wand. So it's also the power of manifestation. It's also the ability to bring out your desires into the physical world. And while the Magician is the next major Arcana card, the Fool begins already with this incredible magical potential to manifest whatever it is that he's seeking. The floral clothing that the Fool is wearing does represent a degree of just being like impractical and a bit naive and innocent with this journey, because this is going to be a really long journey. And if we're talking and visualizing this as like a very long adventure and a very long hike, wearing those clothes does not make the most sense, but that impracticality is actually part of why the Fool is as powerful as he is, because he doesn't really need to plan absolutely every single thing. He already knows, like, okay, cool, like there's gonna be challenges no matter what. I'm just going to get started. I'm not gonna worry too much about the smaller details. This is bigger than that. The rising sun in the background represents a brand new day, good morning, and every day is filled with potential. The sun rises every day on every person, no matter what. And every day, everyone has the same amount of time to completely change their life around. The mountains represent ascending into a higher level of consciousness. It represents overcoming certain obstacles to reach our own peaks of internal wisdom, personal growth, transformation, and understanding. All right, now let's get into the meaning, now that we know all of that information of the Fool. We'll start with the Fool upright, okay? The Fool represents a new beginning of transformative potential and energy. The Fool is a massively important card. The Fool is young, the Fool is naive, the Fool is unprepared, but the Fool is completely and totally confident in himself. And some people would look at the Fool and say, like, what is this journey that you're going on? I don't understand. Did you prepare for this? Are you ready for this? Have you ever gone on a long hike like this before? Like, where is your gear? Where are you going? How long is it gonna take you? What's the plan to get there when you get there? All of these questions are very legitimate, like, do not get me wrong, and it makes sense, like, the Fool is totally unprepared in certain ways for this journey. But really, what the Fool actually represents, it's doing it anyway. It's all about just not needing to think about things so much, just having this deep connected feeling that it's time for you to embark on a new journey, it's time for you to start new lessons, it's time for you to meet new people, it's time for you to transform, right? The Fool is confident in his success because he knows that while he doesn't have everything entirely prepared, life and the universe will give him what he needs along the way. He can overcome any and all obstacles, which are bound to happen to everyone all the time, because he believes in himself and he believes in his potential to learn what he needs to learn along the way. When this card shows up for you, it's asking for you to go for it, right? Like, to believe in yourself. You don't need people necessarily like cheering you on. You don't need to completely and totally prepare for everything. This is all about giving yourself the opportunity to take that risk, to take that leap, and letting the universe just teach you what it needs to teach you along the way. It's about having courage, it's about having determination, it's about believing in yourself, and it is about just starting somewhere. Every journey that has ever been significant for you and for every person has started with this inspiration, has started with this faith, has started with this belief of the Fool. You are ready, you can start, go for it. It is a deep calling for you, and you deserve to find out what this means for you and what is waiting along the path for you and what is waiting at the end of this journey for you. Reversed, with the Fool in reverse, I do like to remind people and say to people that there's actually two types of fools in the world, right? Fool number one is the person that is like maybe not completely and totally prepared for the journey, but believes in themselves and goes for it anyway, right? 100%. The second kind of fool is the person that is so terrified of the potential of change. This is a person that gets so caught up on the idea of preparation or on the idea of risk that they actually talk themselves out of taking these big risks in their life. They're saying like, but how am I gonna do this? Am I completely and totally prepared for this? Like, where am I supposed to go? Like, no, you don't understand. Like, how am I gonna hike the Appalachian Trail? I've never done this before. Obviously, I have to join a class. Obviously, I have to buy all of the lightest gear. Obviously, I have to teach myself this wilderness skills. It's just kind of this idea of like, if you are looking for reasons why not to do something, you are going to find those reasons, right? Like, there's a million potential anxious thoughts that exist around why not to do something. The Fool in reverse is asking for us to just try to find that one positive potential outcome that gives us the permission to just do what we're feeling inspired to do, what our passion is, and to take that bold initiative to take charge of our lives, right? It's also a meditation on who you are, on what your fear is, on what your self-limiting beliefs are. It's a meditation on who you would be and what you would do if that fear or if those self-limiting beliefs didn't exist. It's a great question to ask yourself. What if you did this journey and it was more positive and more impactful for you than you ever imagined possible? Would you do it? The symbolism and the themes within the major arcana all are prompts. They're prompts for your consideration. They're meditations on life and the journey of life for you, right? So I do like to supply people with journal prompts around the major arcana, and so let's get into some of those journal prompts for the Fool. Journal prompt number one, very sincere question to ask yourself. Are you ready to begin a new chapter and a new journey in your life? If you don't feel ready, what exactly is it that's stopping you? Prompt number two, what do you imagine is waiting for you along the line, along the path of this journey? Is it obstacles? Is it positive lessons? Is it mentors? What's waiting for you there? Journal prompt number three, how could taking a risk like this change your life for the better? And actually, on that same token, what are times that you've taken risks in the past that have been so much better than you expected, and what were the outcomes of that? And lastly, a good journal prompt for this is knowing that the Fool cannot carry very many things with him on this journey. what would you bring with you on this brand new adventure, right? I mean, there's physical possessions, but in a larger sense, what do you carry with you all of the time? Is it your instincts? Is it your values? Is it your insights? Is it your wisdom? Is it your intuition? What are these things for you, and how can you use those as the North Star on this long journey that you're about to embark on? I am a fan of mantras and affirmations. I think that they're very positive in the sense that they can completely reprogram your subconscious if you affirm them, if you say them to yourself, okay? So a affirmation for the Fool that would be beneficial is I embrace new beginnings with an open heart. Additionally, I trust in myself and the journey that is ahead. If these resonate with you, I highly recommend writing them down and putting them in a place where you can see them every day. Some people like to, add them to their notes app, or write them on a post-it note and put them on your refrigerator, on your bathroom mirror. But say them 8 times out loud every single time that you see it, and this will help you to start to reprogram some of those self-limiting beliefs, and it will also just remind you that the journey is worth taking. Thank you so much for sticking around with me. If you have any questions and enjoyed this series, please feel free to leave a comment. Please feel free to like and follow and subscribe and all of that good stuff. If you would like to know more information about me or more information about the tarot and the history of the tarot, I encourage you to check out thatoracleguide.com. That is my personal website. I've got all of my resources there, as well as all the things that I offer for folks. Wishing you all the best on this brand new, exciting, adventurous journey. Take care, talk to you later, and goodbye.